Joni, my colleague there, she's the Deputy Secretary General of Green Purchasing Network, of which I'm Secretary General. She can keep you awake, she can make you exercise, keep you alive this evening. But I'll keep on talking. I also represent the International Green Purchasing Network, which is based in Tokyo actually. So while this whole day you've been talking about procurement and materials, didn't hear much green, but I think we are on the same side of the coin actually, on the same coin. You flip the coin, it's either brown or green or black, but we are still on the same coin. A lot of things that were mentioned the whole day are actually related to green. They talk about performance, better performance, a higher productivity. These are all actually language of green actually. Because when you are having a better performance, better efficiency, you're actually cutting down all the wastage and look at things. I chose, because you are here in KLCC, so I chose a picture of KLCC. Okay. Now I can start my performance. Thank you very much, firstly, to IPSPM for inviting me to share with you on why should we go green and what has government done with the green procurement. I know in Indonesia, the same group has the green group within the organization, though it's not mentioned just now, but they have a green group. Every other country has a green group together with procurement group actually. We have a Japan Green Purchasing Network, different countries have it. It's actually, though we move separately, but actually we are actually on the same track actually, only with a different color. We're all very keen on development, we want jobs, we want business, we want work. And of course you have rapid development, rural migration, population increase. These are what you want. And the earlier speaker has said he wants a Lamborghini. Where is he? He's gone. He's driven away with his Lamborghini. You need and you want, you have the basic needs that you want, housing, but all these needs, including the Lamborghini that you are looking at. But when you need all these things, we have concern. If we just think of just production, even though we just good quality performance, without considering many other issues, then you have problems. And the problem is called consumption and production. You might produce the best. If you don't care about your emissions, you don't care about your consumption patterns, like the minister this morning was saying, well, your mindset has not changed. You might be very well educated, but you can still throw the garbage away. And I was looking at a joke actually. You're so educated, you throw the garbage, and who picks up the garbage? The not so educated people picks up the garbage. Why do you let that happen actually? So pollution is a major problem, and many production processes do not take into account pollution. And recently, Malaysia has this issue of the reservoir pollution. I'm not sure what's the reason in Semonge. I was looking at the downstream, upstream, river, Sungai Buah, and then the river Buah, and the river Buah is downstream, and the pollution is upstream. How come you blame the downstream river? So I'm not so sure how the rationale is behind the whole thing, but it is a problem, and everybody start jumping down. So waste is a problem, and I think when you do a production, you have to look at issues. And end of pipe has been the issue for the last so many years. And many of you who are engineers, you are the designers of end of pipe. And the solution to pollution is dilution. Just dilute water, air pollution, chimney, high chimney, that's all the other. And that was the mantra of the early days. But it's changing now. You cannot have all these things now. Today, this pollution is no more pollution. It is a waste. And you cannot say it's a waste. And these are the challenges. And my former president of IGPN, International Green Purchasing Network, Professor Yamamoto, he prepared this 2 degrees change in temperature. That will happen. And he did a simulation in university in Scuba, a very high-speed computer, and he predicted what will happen to the environment from the 50s to now, or to the year 20,000 above. And this is how the computer tells it, just a computer telling you what happens. And I think quite a lot of things. Oh, sorry. And this was a time where some of us was born. I don't know who are the some, but some of us were born during this time. And these were good times actually. Before 50s, early 50s, you can even swim in a nice, dirty river now. Nice because anybody from Johor Bahru, Sungai Segit, it's like a, what do you call it, soya bean or coffee river now. In the 50s, it's crystal clear. You can even swim in that river. But today, this is early this 50s, so you can guess I was swimming there before. Because many of you were born this time. Production, industrialization takes place. So computer simulated, heat is coming up, temperature is rising, and we are at 16, it's hot. It's getting hot. I'm just going to go through fast because I promised some of the ladies there that I'm going to go very fast. Oh, sorry, it's running by itself, but 2028, temperature is rising. By the time 2040, some of you might still be living. It's very hot, and I don't think many can survive up to this time. We are gone. This is a simulation. Might be true. Why? Because this has happened. There's tsunamis all over, you have floods, you have haze. This year, thanks to Indonesia, thanks to the plantation, there's no haze. I don't know why. Maybe your president has put down everybody. Thank you. Many of these issues, floods and everything has happened. And I think these are catastrophe or the disasters that we have been facing. And these are some of the environmental changes that we need to consider. You cannot say, I don't care, I do not want to take into account issues. And it's as I said again, same coin, we are one side, green side, we are all the same coin. So what do? We say, well, it's a resource or it's a waste. If you look at it as a waste, it's a problem all the time. But if it's a resource, then we have opportunities. And I think in procurement, there's a lot of opportunities if you look into some of the issues in environment. And these are the resource productivity management that we are looking at, coordination productivity for a long time. And we look at resource productivity, green productivity as key to giving more profits to companies, more efficiency, more things to be done. And the opportunities are also in the new population. The middle class is rising. I look at Indonesia's figures, I was very impressed. And I look at the numbers, 160 billion purchasing. Maybe 10% per year increase in looking into green procurement would have actually, in the long run, saved the world actually. Because when we look at, I will go into a little bit what is green procurement. You actually, I was talking to somebody today that, or talking to MIDA, the Malaysian Industrial Development, that in the past, we have been so focused on pollution. We had the Department of Environment in the 70s. Every agency was set up, the Department of Environment around the region, to look at pollution control. But if you look at green issues, green technology, the Deputy Minister was from the Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water. Very little emissions problems that you have. You don't really need to worry about emissions coming up. And this is the thing, that if you have so big a population, how many billions, you can encourage the middle class to buy green products, you can actually say, if they don't buy, then there are a lot of problems that you can have. Well, just jump a bit, I just look through the literatures. Everybody's talking green. In the 70s and the 80s, you try to talk green to your ministry people, try to talk green to ministers. I was in the ministry, I was in the civil service, Malaysian civil service for 20 over years. And sometimes ministers will say, wow, green is not to be considered now because you will not encourage investors. You may bankrupt companies because when you look at wastewater treatment, it costs a lot of money. Pollution control is actually a cost that doesn't even bring you any profits. And this is where it's a problem. And so many of them, many are now aware. It's time to actually look at the green issues. Global warming, depletion of resources have gone through, chemicals and environmental impacts. There are a lot of changes in customer. Today, not only in the Time magazine or what, talking about green. I think every ministry is looking at green issues actually. I'm not sure about the other countries, but I know in Malaysia, if you do not do green, you're not already there. You actually lost already. And everybody's talking. And actually next year we're looking into a World Congress on recycling actually. We're calling green recycling. So there are some issues behind recycling. But these are the issues that we have to look at. With the green side, we have to look into the whole life cycle of product. From the day you mine, you take your gold from the mountain, from the riverside. You look at material handling, logistic, manufacturing. I put the red manufacturing because today our focus is mainly on just the manufacturing process, without looking into the pre and the post. The packaging, transportation, use, reuse, and disposal. This is where the green procurement looks at the whole cycle now. And this is very pertinent because many of you know Sony, right? PlayStation 2. It was rejected by Europe at one time. That PlayStation is excellent, one of the best machines at that time. Why? Because the cable that was attached to PlayStation 2 was manufactured in another country, which has a toxic chemical in that cable. And the whole PlayStation 2 was rejected. And there are many issues like that. That environment issues becoming more and more pertinent. 2020 Tokyo Olympics, we are looking at ethical procurement. Ethics is the key now. It's one of the key issues to be looked at. So life cycle is a very important aspect. And when you look at green purchasing, I remember our earlier speaker talked about price is no more an issue, but price is still an issue. I hope people still talk about it. Because price per se is not an issue, but you have to look at quality it's important, the function, the design, and the environment. So all these are key issues now that has to be considered when you look for a sustainable society. So quickly. Basically, in green purchasing, we look at 4 fundamental principles. The first one, do I really need it? Do I need to buy? Many of us go in the past, when you go around the world, when you're young, you tend to buy souvenirs. When you're older, you don't even buy anything. And you accumulate a lot of souvenirs. And I actually got one whole room full of souvenirs. One whole room. Because I not only buy, but I get a lot of souvenirs from people actually when we do international buy. These are, you need it or you don't need it. Principle 2, purchase a product considering the various environmental impacts over its life cycle, from extraction of raw materials to disposal. 3, select suppliers who make a conscious effort to care for the environment. 4, collect environmental information and suppliers. So maybe principle 3 can add to my earlier 3's presentation. Very quickly, I explained this. I'm going to go very quickly on principle 2. There's 7 other points in principle 2. Avoidance, reduction of hazardous substances, Looking at energy and resource saving, usage of renewable resources in sustainable way, whether it's long lasting, can it be reusable, is it recyclable? Recyclable is a very important issue as we go into the future. More and more demands are made on recyclable materials in your final manufacturing component. Plastics or electronic goods, some buyers look at 30% of the plastics or the component must be recyclable items. And you cannot find the recyclable item, you have to go buy it. The recyclable items become higher. Sometimes much more higher than the virgin products actually. Because there's a demand for it. And these are the future trends. So when you look at procurement, I think these are key issues to look at when you want to be competitive. Usage of recycled material and reused parts, trouble-free disposal and treatment. These are some of the things we're going to go through. You're familiar. Packaging materials can reduce packaging by 20%. Food production, transportation issues. Should I buy local food or should I buy food that travels in the air? Okay. Life cycle costing is very important. Labels are very important. You buy a fish, you can see already what's the energy cost, what's the lifetime cost of your whole product. Usage of renewable resources in sustainable way. More and more countries are looking at renewable energy now. I know Korea has, by 2020, 10% of their energy must come from renewable energy. And 10% in Korea is very high. We're looking at about 4 power plants, 3 more plants coming up, 6 million tons of biomass be burned. Japan is about 50%. Europe is about 20%. I mean, replacing coal actually as one of the key sources of. So these are the procurement, and these are big companies like Echo and all these things. When they buy, they require this issue to be handled. These are the issues that we have to look at. So very quickly, these are some of the issues that I think I've gone through. Where it is, how durable it is, long lasting, can it reuse, toothbrush, can you replace the